Welcome to Citizen McCain. I'm Meghan McCain, your host. I hope you had a nice weekend. Just a reminder, raise your digital hand if you want to ask a question. And if you're listening on the podcast and you want to join us on the Zoom, you can register to do that at 2way.tv/Meghan, or just listen or watch later when you have time. Miranda, obviously, we have a lot to get into today. We have Guy Benson here, our old friend from Fox News, coming on as a guest to go over a bunch of political stuff. But we just have to give a really quick shout out. Excuse me, you have your Annabelle doll. Mine's over here. I'll get it in a second. Okay, so the Conjuring movie, which is based on the Annabelle doll series that we're obsessed with, and we're obsessed with all things Annabelle related, had the second biggest opening weekend for a horror movie ever in the history of the world ever. Okay,
We're
you
so
guys
excited.
made. Where I'm like
I'm so
like I took
proud.
like I was like, look at us being our finger on the pulse
We
of
take
what
some
people like.
pride in
Yes.
that. Yes.
Okay, really quick. It made $187 million globally, which is
Wild.
obviously insane. It's also the first the first Warner Brothers studio film in history to release 7 films back to back in a series, making over $40 million at the domestic box office. It's a juggernaut. The series and everyone's obsession with Annabelle is a real thing. So for everybody who has left comments for us that nobody cares and people aren't interested, almost $200 million your opening weekend. A lot of people care. Okay.
Mhm.
A lot of people care about Annabelle.
Around the world. Like,
Yeah,
yes.
it's a global phenomenon. Okay.
Mhm.
And one more Annabelle update. We have to show this video that the Annabelle doll is once again going to be on the run.
She
It has
is.
left.
Yes.
She has officially left the Warren Occult Museum, or AKA Matt Rife's house, and is now in Augusta, Maine for the annual Maine Paranormal and Horror Convention. We have a video. The doll's departure from the museum comes just as the cause of death for paranormal investigator. We obviously so sad he died. Don Rivera died in 2025 in July from cardiac issues. So I think we have the video right here of her leaving.
Yeah. So they carried her out for this like paranormal weekend in
Number
Maine.
7.
Yeah. And ooh, that's loud.
Last step.
Stay against the pillars. I think you'd be fine. Just go stay filled in.
I don't want to walk backwards. All right.
Oh, shit.
And there she goes. So that was over the
I cannot
weekend.
believe people are touching it. I can't believe people are touching the box.
They got a blanket over it. But we didn't see as much of the pageantry as we saw before, when like Dan Rivera was in charge with the priest and all the praying and everything that went along with it. So I looked it up on like Reddit and local news in Maine to see if like any wackiness was happening with her in town. If there was, it wasn't being widely reported on any kind of socials or anything. So if we have anybody in our Zoom audience that is in or around the area or knows of anything that happened, please raise your hand and pop in and let us know. I tried to do some digging. I couldn't find anything last night.
And Maine is a very paranormal place. The history of a lot of paranormal activities happening, and just a lot of inspiration, obviously, with where Stephen King is based. But we just want to give a big congratulations to the makers of The Conjuring: The Last Rites. Second biggest opening for a horror movie is nothing to like take. I was supposed to go last night to go see it, and then our babysitter canceled last minute. I literally was going to push our meeting like earlier, like our team meeting, but my babysitter canceled. So I will be seeing it before Friday. One way or another, I'm seeing that movie.
I'm gonna try to see it. Yes, sometime this week, if I even have to go by myself. So I watched The Nun last night. I think I'm gonna just like watch all of them in order before, just to kind of honor the love story of the Warrens and just kind of put a beautiful little cap on the whole thing.
And
I hope they're not done though. I love them together.
I hope they're not done either. And I really love Vera Farmiga as Mrs. Warren. And I think she's an incredible actor. I think Patrick Wilson's an incredible actor in it as well. So like, again, we're going to move off of this. But for everyone who has left comments that no one cares about the Annabelle doll as much as Miranda and I do, a lot
Cut
of
it
people.
out.
Okay. All right. All right. Moving on. We understand Guy Benson is here. He has joined our little chat. Hi, Guy. How are you?
How's it going?
Look at your beard. Looking
cute.
so rugged this morning. Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you.
I love
Afternoon.
it.
Thank you so much for coming on. For people that don't know, Guy Benson is a Fox News contributor, host of the Guy Benson Show on Fox News Radio, and he's the townhall.com lead political editor. You can find him on X and Instagram at Guy Benson. Guy, thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it. It's so good to see you. Just really quick before we get into the news, how is dad life treating you? You gorgeous little boy. How is everything? You're still like a new parent. I mean, I think he's barely 1, right?
He'll be 2 in a few months. So
Oh, I got that wrong. Why did I think that you guys are? Why
I
did
mean,
think he was like
you know how quickly it goes, right? Like all of a sudden you blink and like a year has passed and he's doing all this new stuff and it's very cute. And what's funny is like it's exciting as a parent to discover when he has started to use a new word or has figured out some sort of concept and you're seeing this progress. But then there's like a little bit of sadness and nostalgia for the old times. So our dog, we have this adorable dog. His name is Roy. And for some reason, our son called him something that made no sense. So like he would call other dogs puppy or doggy, like, hi puppy, hi doggy. But for our dog, whose name again is Roy, he called him Adado. We don't know what it is. We don't know where that came from. And it was the cutest thing. And then at some point, just recently, he figured it out and started calling him Roy. And we're like, oh, good job. You're doing it. And then it's like, oh, wait, I kind of miss him calling him Adado because like this little mini language that he had that's only for us. So it's just kind of the give and take of parenting. But overall, it's, tough, but a joy. And there's nothing like it. And it's amazing.
Liberty had her first day of school last week, like real school, and I cried the entire car ride home. And I was like, I used to be such a tough bitch, Ben, and now I'm like, I hate it. I hate them getting older. Like it's so hard, and it's amazing, but it's like, my God, it's hard. I totally agree. And I'm like,
all the tiny heartbreaks, yeah.
You guys very kindly invited us to the birthday party coming up for Liberty, and unfortunately I'm out of town, so I can't come. But like when I saw the number of what she's turning, like,
I know.
Is it that already? Right? It's all too fast. Stop it. Slow it down.
No. That's a milestone number. Yeah.
I know. I still remember a final thing before, and we'll move on from kid stuff. When Miranda was pregnant at the original 2015 convention before Trump was elected. And I always have this like memory of her oldest daughter, like her age in Trump years.
Yes. And she's going to be 9. She'll be 9 in a couple of months. It's insane. Yes.
So
the fact that she's a 9-year-old.
I know. And she was like almost 9 months pregnant and was so hot and she was so amazing. And it was really crazy doing that time.
Running my ass through that convention. Crazy.
I know. We're going to do some serious stuff with you, Guy, but then we're going to switch to more fun because honestly, if I just stick on the like super serious news, I'm just going to be depressed all day. But we have to talk about this story. It's awful. I've seen the video a few times. It's going all over social media. I know most of you have probably seen this already, but we still want to show it right now. A Ukrainian woman named Iryna Zarutska was stabbed to death by a man named Carlos Brown in Charlotte, North Carolina on a train, over the weekend. And last week. And there's a video of it going around social media. It is worth noting that DeCarlos Brown had a long record of felony, larceny, robbery, and robbery with a dangerous weapon. He stabbed her to death, including in her left artery in her neck, and she was pronounced dead on the scene. This is after, of course, she had fled war-torn Ukraine to come to the United States of America. I'm going to show this video to everyone, but please note there's the deeply graphic parts are edited out. Number 4, please.
Please stand clear. Doors are closing. Train is about to move.
Yeah, it's horrible. And then there's more video that comes out of him walking down the train and there's blood everywhere and
dripping blood
right here
and full of people who are just kind of asking him if he's okay.
Can't tell people are in shock or thought he was bleeding. regardless, we don't need to play anymore.
Yeah, there's
It's
people trying to get
very
away from
graphic.
him, obviously. I mean, we do have a podcast component, so they want to describe
Yeah,
it a little
yeah,
bit.
sorry,
Yes.
of course.
But so it's very
Wait, just really
confusing.
quick, Guy. What is also relevant in this story is that as of this morning, the New York Times, the Washington Post, CNN, MSNBC, NPR, USA Today, Reuters, ABC, PBS, and Axios had not covered the story. CBS early show did do it this morning. So on top of everything else, the media is ignoring this. Can you just give me first reactions and your reaction? I don't understand why people are ignoring this horrific story.
Well, I kind of do. It's very inconvenient for a lot of the narratives that they want and the narratives that they have been wedded to and invested in and shoving down our throats, especially since 2020. And this happened in August, right? So this happened, I believe, August 22nd. I remember hearing about it at the time, seeing a few tweets about it. It was not a national story, nowhere close to a George Floyd or Daniel Penny in that whole episode, right? I think it's undeniable that the racial dynamic was not of interest to a lot of people in the so-called news media. And so it took that video coming out to horrify people and say, wait a second, this young woman fled a war zone to come to the United States. She's minding her own business on public transit. I think she was wearing her employer t-shirt. She was worked at a pizzeria. And this guy, you can see he just sits there and stands up and just stabs her in the neck from behind, totally unprovoked. 14 prior arrests, including assault on a female. That happened just a couple of years ago. This guy wasn't a ticking time bomb. He was a grenade going off constantly and being arrested and then turned right back out on the streets under the law, under their social justice policies, the judge letting him back out. This is someone who I think had forfeited his right to be given the benefit of the doubt, offending over and over and over and over again. When this happened back in August, the mayor of that town, a Democrat, she came out in her initial statement about the murder that we all just saw. And she did not mention the victim by name in that statement. And her big push was, don't demonize homeless people. They need help. We can't arrest our way out of this problem. I mean, it was like scolding people not to jump to the wrong conclusions politically and policy-wise about it. That was her entire focus, while the afterthought was the victim in the case. And then yesterday, she came out sort of disappointed that the video had leaked and become public, and she thanked her media partners, whatever that means, for not covering the video and not showing it because it was just so disturbing. Not disturbing enough for her to name the victim or to talk about criminal justice in a meaningful sense when it happened. And now I think there is a big national story about this, not just because of the soft on crime policies that led to it. This wasn't a mentally ill person who out of nowhere did something horrible and just exploded with no warning. This was years of warnings and a record where he was just let back out over and over again. You've got Democrats in North Carolina, I think, sort of panicking because they know how this looks for them, their policies, their rhetoric, and all of that. And then the media is playing catch up on a story that, again, originated several weeks ago now. And a lot of them are taking the hook, yes, of the video, but especially the backlash. Oh, it's the MAGA backlash. It's Republicans and conservatives pouncing. Yes, pouncing on a graphic murder. Axios was whining that it was caught on video, like it's almost the surveillance footage's fault that we're talking about this. And I think your initial question, Megan, is the better one, which is, why wouldn't we be talking about it to begin with or without the video? I think the video forced them to talk about something. If not for this video, we would not be talking about it here. And certainly all of those news outlets that have put a complete lid on this story, total media blackout for weeks, they are now being forced to cover it because Trump was asked about it last night. He commented on it today. Right-leaning social media and Twitter is making such a big deal out of it that they were basically dragging these people, forcing them to cover something that they would prefer to never have covered. And if not for social media and if not for this video, it would never have been a national story.
Yeah, I think what's so horrific about this is that politics is coming into play into a situation and a story that there's nothing innately political about it. A woman was just sitting on a train doing nothing, looking at her phone, coming home from work, and she's stabbed in the neck by a man that should not be out of jail, that by no reason should be on the streets, litany of crimes. I think you said 14 before. The thing I don't understand about the left in general today is that they want to dismiss violence. Like it's not something we should be concerned about. I'm sure every person in North Carolina that rides the bus or the train right now is freaking out and probably on edge and probably not sitting, probably standing today. I know I would be after this incident. Why is it so hard to be like, even I was thinking there's so much backlash against Trump and the possibility of him sending the National Guard into Chicago. And he said, but what will happen is 5 people a weekend won't be shot. And if you're someone who's like living in poverty and can't afford to protect yourself in a gated neighborhood, if you have money, whatever, you're not going to be impacted in the same way. So it does impact poor people, which Democrats always claim that they care about more than Republicans do. I think this is like cataclysmic politically for Democrats today, particularly North Carolina, which is a really important swing state. Do you think they're going to learn any of these political lessons? I find it just so disheartening. And again, we should say her name again. Her name's Iryna Zarutska. And there's just like deep tragedy of a woman who left, again, a insane war zone to come here for the American dream, and this is what we fucking give her.
She was a refugee, and this is what happens to her.
Yeah, no.
And then everyone wants to politicize it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, another point, and this is like a tertiary point, but some people on the left or left of center are saying, look, we're constantly lecturing everyone that we should do more mass transit and get out of our cars and be better stewards of the environment, whatever. If you have this sort of thing happening on mass transit, whether it's in the DC Metro before we had the presence here or in the New York City subway or here in Charlotte, like that video is going to make a lot of people, especially people who can afford not to, say, you know what, I'm going to drive myself. Thank you very much. Because of that disparity, Meghan, that you were just talking about. So there is like sort of a class issue here as well. But there is, I think, fundamentally a problem that the left has been captured ideologically by hardcore activists. A lot of them are stuck in this 2020, 2021 mentality, which was toxic to begin with. But they went all in on that. And then it's like, we're now years removed from that. I think the country realized, okay, wow, we really overcorrected in the wrong direction with terrible outcomes and terrible consequences. But the Democratic Party and a lot of these activists are still stuck back there, where you get this inversion of victimhood, right? Like I think back to the Nashville shooting at a Christian school by one of these deranged trans people, an individual, right? I'm not trying to blame any wider community, but almost immediately, the Democrats in Tennessee, not knowing what else to do, they were like, oh, well, we're going to yell about gun control, and we're going to say that the real victims of this is the trans community because people are pointing out the shooter's trans. And then they had a big mob that invaded the state legislature, and the Republicans there kicked a few members out or expelled them from the body, and that became the lead story. Now, all of a sudden, the real victims are no longer the Christian children who are dead. It's the the legislators of color in Tennessee, the Tennessee Three, who got a visit from Kamala Harris. Then just a few weeks ago in Minneapolis, like I don't think we had even gotten a full picture of who had been shot, how many people were dead at that Minneapolis Christian school shooting by a trans person, and we had the mayor of the city like wagging his finger in a press conference about let's not demonize the trans community and we don't need your prayers. That's not the priority right now. And as I said, the mayor in Charlotte, North Carolina, in this story, just whizzed right past the dead woman, straight to you. You better not blame the wrong people here. Often the unhoused are the victims of crime as opposed to the perpetrators. Like they just go straight to their preferred victims, even if it means downplaying or ignoring actual victims. And I think when you couple that with their soft on crime policies, people notice it, and it is a huge substantive problem for our society because it's a lot of lawless violence, and it ought to be, and I think it is a huge political problem because now you've got Roy Cooper, who was the Democratic governor of that state at the time, did a bunch of the sort of equity genuflecting and had a task force and all these reforms. Now he wants to run for Senate. If you don't think this is going to be an ad and an issue in that Senate campaign, he's already out there on the defensive trying to fight back. This is a problem for them. And unfortunately, I think it should be a problem for them because they didn't stab this woman, but there's no excuse for having a 14-time arrested violent felon with all these issues back on the street to victimize yet another person. That's not tough on crime right-wing policy that did that, obviously.
Well, also, I always think of that famous George Bush line, the soft bigotry of low expectations. It's like Democrats are like, well, this guy is, I don't know if he's homeless or not. And, he's African American and he's whatever. So we have to be gentle with this. Even if they're hardcore criminals that have a
His
robbery,
lawyer,
felony,
yeah,
pardon me?
his lawyer's already filed for a competency hearing and all of that stuff too. So they're trying to play mental illness cards and all of that as well.
I mean, again, I just think that like it's only making situations worse when you just expect everyone. They're like they can't control themselves, well, then they should be in an institution. I want to say one more thing about the trans issue with the shooting. Jake Tapper had this clip that like went all over social media where he was saying like we're misgendering the shooter or whatever. Two quick things. Number one, if you're a trans person, I'm sure you don't want to be associated with a psychopath who just shot up a school and killed a bunch of children. Number two, Jake Tapper, he's a monster. He's a monster from hell. And monsters from hell don't get to get gendered because you're a monster. You have nothing to do with the LGBT community. I don't give a shit what their pronouns are one way or the other, and no one else does. People want justice of, again, how someone with a severe mental illness came in and shot a bunch of kids. And that's the thing I don't understand about Democrats is like, it's about crime, stupid. It's like the economy, stupid. It's about crime, stupid. How did someone with 14 arrests end up stabbing someone on the bus? How did someone who claims, who had clearly a series of mental illnesses end up getting a gun and shooting up a school that his mother worked at? These are the issues, not gender and not whether or not this person is homeless or not. Anyway, we have a question from Nick, really quick, I believe, for Guy. Hi, Nick. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Good. Please ask us your question. Thank you for coming on.
Yeah, I appreciate it. And nice meeting you guys as well. And big fan of yours too. So I guess my question really is around, I kind of know the answer to this, but I'm just going to ask you, just love to have your opinion on it. And again, this is not a racial thing, but if the races of the people were reversed,
Totally.
I'm sure that this would be completely different. You'd have probably heard the story 2 hours after it happened. Would like to get your opinion on that. And the second thing is, I would like to know, I know, Guy, you work at Fox, you spend a lot of time in New York. Would love to understand and kind of get your feeling around. And again, I left New York. I live in Florida now. We just moved down here in March. So I'm out of the craziness. I was born and raised in New York. Would love to get your opinion on what you think of the mayor race in New York. I mean, you have Mamdani, and of course you got Cuomo. It's like, who's worse really at this point to win that race? But we'd love to hear your opinion on that.
Yeah. So I'll take them one at a time. I think on the racial component, you said it's not about race. I think in this case, the answer is about race, right? We all know the name Daniel Penny.
Yep.
Because of the color of his skin versus the man who died, who was menacing everyone on that train. It didn't matter that he was attacking and threatening people of color. Daniel Penny was arrested and prosecuted, I think persecuted in Alvin Bragg's New York because of his identity. I think that is just empirically true. You can maybe argue otherwise. I think it's true. I think if you had a white person on camera like that stabbing a black person to death on a train in this horrible way, I don't think it would have been scrupulously avoided by certain media outlets the way that it was, because it would feed into a narrative that they believe strongly in, and therefore they would lean into it, as opposed to something that's inconvenient for that narrative, and therefore is like, oh, well, let's just nothing to see here. Let's sweep that under the rug. Local story, small local story. Very sad, but we don't need to talk about it nationally. It's a lot of, I think, media bias boils down to journalistic crimes of omission, and what they decide to raise up and amplify to the level of a national story, which is versus what they try to suppress, frankly. And I do think that racial narratives and racial politics definitely is one of the fueling factors there. In terms of New York, yeah, I don't live up there, but I'm there a lot for work, as you mentioned, at Fox. I just got back actually this morning from New York. I'm worried. I know there's some conservatives being like, oh, let it burn. If they want to elect some communists, like, good luck. I mean, I have to be there, for work. I have to be there a lot. I would be very worried about public safety, and what about all the people who don't want that guy to win, who live in less privileged communities that almost always suffer disproportionately, who voted against him in a primary, will vote like there's a lot of innocent people, so to speak, who will be impacted by the results of an election, and just sort of writing them off being like, oh, well, I don't think that's the appropriate response. I think Andrew Cuomo is absolutely repellent. I think he should be shamed out of public life forever. Do I think he is still preferable to a communist? I do. I do. Because, Zohran Mamdani, we're talking about public safety, we're talking about police. He said in an interview this week that all of the things that he said and tweeted in 2020 and 2021 are not reflective of the campaign that he's running now. It's like, I'm sorry, they are your thoughts, your beliefs. He called NYPD a major threat to public safety, not criminals, the police. He said they're anti-queer. He said they're racist. They should be defunded. He said that every way possible. This guy loathes law enforcement. And so he has these, I think, harebrained schemes that sound great with a smile on some symposium panel, but when you're running a city, they don't work at all. He's also, I think, 7 years younger than I am, has never run anything ever. Now he wants
He's
to
never had
run
a job.
the biggest city in the country. It's like, it's pretty frightening. So like, there's no way to beat him if there's other people in the race. It has to be a one-on-one shot. Eric Adams, I don't know what on earth he's doing staying in the race. I like Curtis Leah. If I could pick and like wave a wand, I would make Curtis Leah mayor, just because I agree with him a lot more. Nice guy. I've met him a few times. No, there's no chance in New York City. So to me, if it's a 3-on-1 or even a 2-on-1 race, congratulations, Mayor Mamdani. If it's 1-on-1, there's at least a chance of defeating him. Where you dodge the bullet of this committed communist with a grin on his face. He's very good at seeming, not scary and harmless, and just like this nice, normal guy who wants to make things more affordable. Never mind all the things he's done and said and all the lack of experience. At his core, he's a communist, talking about seizing the means of production and barring private property. If you can somehow avoid him, then you're stuck with the other evil of Andrew Cuomo, who has blood on his hands back from COVID and the nursing homes and corruption and harassment issues. All of that stuff doesn't go away just because he's up against Zohran Mamdani. But as a voter, you'd have to like weigh this thing. And I'm glad I don't have to make that choice because it's a horrible one. But if I lived in New York, I would look myself in the mirror, take the deepest breath and like swallow hard, and then vote for Cuomo, which I can't even believe I'm saying. I cannot believe I'm saying that. But when you give me a communist as your other option, that's where we are.
With all the talented people in New York, especially business people, these are the three candidates. It just absolutely amazes me, really. But I appreciate all that.
The one thing I'll say, Nick, and I agree with everything, and then Miranda, you can jump in. Everything that Guy is saying about, I don't want people to suffer in New York City either, because I think, and if you see the data on Mamdani, it's white people voting for him. Like he struggles very hard with Black people, with Hispanic people, basically anyone except white liberals that come from wealthy families that move to Brooklyn. Like he has a very hard time with, because again, those people won't be impacted as much. But I do think the scary part for me is that I never thought that in any point in time in America, socialism would be as appealing to so many people as it is, that they think like this will actually be the answer. It shows complete lack of education and what our education system has been doing for young people for a long time, that anyone's gonna like look at Cuba and be like, yeah, Venezuela, and like, yeah, let's try that here. Let's see how it works. And number two, I say this with deep respect. I have a lot of friends who still live in New York City. A lot of people are not paying enough attention, and because I was saying, and we were saying on this show for a long time, Mamdani can 100% win. I saw so much enthusiasm for him on social media, and just like anecdotally, like in obscure people that I know. They're not my friends, but people that I know through friends that are very liberal. And some of these people in New York are like, how could this happen here? How could this happen here? And it's like, you're not active enough. You're not paying enough attention. And this is an existential crisis to any business person, to anyone who doesn't want socialism. And I think it's an existential crisis for the Democrat Party. The only thing that the silver lining for me in all of this is I want Mamdani, and I'm so sorry, Guy, I really do think he's going to win. I want him on. Yeah, I want him on the DNC stage in 2028. I want him with giant letters, globalize the intifada, communism's good, make all grocery stores government mandate. I want every radical extreme position in the same way that they make us own every extreme position from the alt-right. You get to own that too. That's your platform now. And I think he's going to be very complicated for whomever the next presidential nominee is, because the base of the party will accept nothing less than extreme deference to him and his candidacy, which is going to make politics very interesting and the likelihood of a President Vance that much higher.
Don't underestimate the ignorance of New York voters, and I say that with respect. They voted Bill de Blasio in not once but twice,
I know.
and not only that, they voted for him overwhelmingly both times. So don't underestimate them, because they will put I agree with you, Meghan, that he's going to win. Unfortunately, that's the reality. You're not going to get Curtis in there. They just do not vote Republican, and think people are going to hold their nose and like, I don't really like Cuomo much. I personally think he's going to win. Unfortunately, it's a shame, because I grew up, that's my home state, and now I had to, I left to come down to sunny Florida.
And the thing is, like, the wealthy, so you have like the very wealthy people who create a lot of jobs and like control a lot of the capital, and like I think a lot of them are going to get out. I think a lot of them are already gotten out. So like part of the reason that he can win a Democratic primary is some of the people who might have been there to stop him or oppose that, they're gone. They've already left either the party or the city.
That's
or
fair.
state, right? They're already gone. So you have a more distilled left-wing base, and his base is the more like the wealthier, tonier people, not necessarily like the big job creators, the billionaires that he wants to pay for everything but also shouldn't exist, right? That's his big plan. But like, the wealthy people with nice apartments on the Upper West Side or whatever. Yeah, those people. And then also young people. Young people love him because he talks about affordability. They feel like capitalism's terrible. They love free Palestine and hate Israel. So he's just like, he's the complete package, right? In their mind. They're also probably in many cases too young. And so am I, frankly, because I grew up in the New York area, like from 4th grade through high school. New York was never bad when I was growing up. The bad old days of New York were before I was born.
Yeah.
When I was a little kid living overseas. So like the 70s, the 80s, when New York was an absolute pit with crime and murder and Times Square was a cesspool and all of that, that was all cleaned up by Rudy and then maintained by Bloomberg, right? Like the city was a thriving, vibrant, quite safe major city for a long time. And so I think a lot of young people take for granted, even with the problems we've had recently, they take for granted that things can't get worse, which is wrong. And then they feel like, well, a lot of this stuff isn't affordable. I can't afford to live here. There's all sorts of problems. They're correct about that. They are just incorrect about the policies that could possibly save it. Like his policies are exactly the opposite of what should be done. But because he talks about it and he's young and he's got that big plastered on smile on his face, right? He'll say like, the Jewish state should be annihilated and shouldn't have a right to exist, but he'll seem sort of non-threatening when he says it. And they're like, okay, yeah, that's our guy.
Stalin was supposed to be quite charming, so
and
like not whatever.
In the day, right? So
just also last final thing, Nick, just anecdotally, I have a very good friend who works in really high-end luxury fashion at Bergdorf Goodman in New York City. And he has told me that 75% of his clients move to Palm Beach, like that he now has to send a lot of things, like he's a stylist and he sends a lot of like the styling he does because they don't live in New York anymore. And it's like,
Meghan,
yeah.
Did you see the tweet? So I think Mamdani put out this tweet. It was a photo of himself, AOC, and Bernie Sanders. They were all out there, their little communist rally the other day.
Yeah.
And they're all standing there smiling for the photo. And Governor DeSantis down in Florida retweeted it. He's like, this is the best selling point for Florida real estate agents.
I mean,
I'm paraphrasing, but like that's a little bit snarky, but it's also true. Case in point, the guy on the screen right now, Nick, who got out of there before it got even worse. But I mean, there will be more people looking for I have one or two friends already actively looking to move elsewhere because they see the writing on the wall. It's
pretty bad. My wife and I, when we would go out to the Broadway shows and all that, and I'll end this, Meghan, because I know you want to talk to other people, but we'd go out to Broadway shows and I'm very, I'm well versed in martial arts. We would leave. This was like last year sometime. We left one of the shows and we started to walk. And even I started to get nervous. And I said, you know what? We need to just kind of keep walking. Let's just keep walking. It has turned so bad. And I
It's
grew
a
up,
sewer.
it's
It's
horrible. I
disgusting.
grew up in the
Yes.
70s and 80s, right? I was born in 64, right? I grew up during that time and I saw how bad it was. When Rudy came in and cleaned everything up, real estate prices went up. Like everything was wonderful. I lived in Manhattan for 16 years and I started to move and I moved out when I started to see things during the end of Bloomberg's third term started to change. And then we got 2 terms of de Blasio and then hell broke loose. So
Mhm.
it's gotten real bad over there.
The,
But
it,
I'm sure
I lived in New York since college. I went to Columbia and I moved in 2003. I left in 2020 during COVID. I totally agree with you to see the decline. I used to never feel nervous doing anything. I mean, I can remember, going out having a few late nights with Guy and my friends at Fox, and like I never felt anything. And then the past, like even right, like you said, right before COVID, a few years before, like the last time I went to New York City, I was coming out of a restaurant in the Lower East Side with a friend, and I was like, I cannot walk down that area of the street with you, and I am not a coward, and I'm not a tragic person. She was like, let's get on the subway. I was like, wrong answer. We are getting like, we have to get an Uber and I have to find a man to escort us to the car to do it. And again, like, what is this? I'm also paying an exorbitant amount of money to like, come to the city, stay in a hotel room. And I just feel bad, particularly for my friends at Fox, like you Guy, who are on the front lines, being advocates, being people, political commentators fighting against this. And at the same time, you have to literally physically go there. And also it smells like weed everywhere. And I hate the
wasn't there
smell.
somebody at Fox like a weatherman who got mugged or something like that? I thought I'd
Yep.
read that
Adam
somewhere.
Klotz. Adam Klotz was attacked in the subway. There was some guy. It was like a Daniel Penny type situation. Thank God no one died. But if memory serves, our colleague Adam Klotz, who's a meteorologist, he was in the subway and there was some guy menacing a bunch of people, and he was just like, "Yo, back off!" And he got badly beaten.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it's unfortunate because normally, like I as a person who's been trained would go in and do something
Yeah.
to like diffuse that situation.
Like Daniel
Now,
Penny did.
exactly. But since that though, guys, since Daniel Penny, like I walk away, and it's unfortunate because
Well,
like I don't want to do that,
like those
right? But
other
in
people on the bus in Charlotte who are just kind of
exact, did you
standing
see
there.
that? Like they were just standing around. Like I would have been like, this is crazy. But in
They don't want to get
Florida.
stabbed either.
Right. In Florida now, it's all concealed carry. Like I feel very safe down here. You know what I mean? Like I know it's like nothing's going to go down because we're all in that same sort of mindset, especially where I live. And it's just, but now in New York, if there's something going on, like people don't want to get involved because of something like Daniel Penny. Like it's
They go to
crazy to
prison.
me.
They could go to prison.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's crazy. You want to help, but you'll go to prison to help. So, okay, I'm not going to help now.
Well, Nick, thank you so much for calling in and your time. I'm glad you're in the free state of Florida and away from New York. I selfishly just want all my friends and like-minded people to leave New York City just because I sadly think there's no future there right now. So good
I
on
love
you
the
for
show.
getting
I love
out.
the show, Megan. You do a great job. I really do love it.
Thank you.
I don't
Thank
agree
you.
with all your guests that you bring on, but I like Guy. You know what I'm saying? But
Everybody likes Guy. That's why he's so popular. Everybody
Not
literally
true.
everybody likes you, Guy. No, it's true. Like one of the few people in media everyone universally
I
likes.
love the
So
show,
thank
Megan.
you.
You do a great job.
Thank you, Nick. Thank
Yeah.
you. I want to switch gears a little bit, if you don't mind, guys. So this went viral over the weekend. I'm sure everyone has seen the Philly Karen over the weekend.
Yes.
This is a woman who sparked a confrontation at Lone Depot Park after a home run ball landed near her, but was picked up by a man who gave it to his 10-year-old son because it was his birthday, prompting her to confront him with the ball. If you somehow haven't seen it, here is video one of Baseball Karen. So you can see her running. For people that are listening, the
So
dad picks up the ball.
Yeah, the ball landed at their feet. They weren't fast enough. And if the ball's on the ground, it's fair game to anyone. So she runs up to get him, and the dad looks terrified because he's just enjoying the moment with his son, and they're screaming at each other. But everyone's booing at them.
There's another video where you can hear the audio of it. Do you want me to play that, or are we good? We good? Okay. All right. I won't play it. I want to know from you, Guy. This is like like the third or fourth incident in a series of incidents. There was something last week at a tennis match where a man stole a hat from a little boy that like the tennis player was signing and clearly trying to give to the boy. I've seen it happen with hockey pucks at hockey games where people like literally take a hockey puck away from a child. There is nothing on God's green earth that could get me to behave in such a fashion in any context whatsoever. Keep a camera on me when I'm out in public at all times. I do not behave in this kind of way. And also, what could possibly be worth it to steal a ball from a kid on his birthday? What the hell is wrong with everyone? And why is it always, and I say this as a middle-aged white woman, why is it always middle-aged white women doing it? It's always, every single time, it's a crazy middle-aged Karen.
So, okay, first of all, the ball
Guys,
goes-
like, I hate this topic.
No. But like, I'm a sports fan. I've of course seen this. I have multiple thoughts on it. The ball goes to the kid, right? Like adult mentality. There's a foul ball. There's like people are scrounging around for it. There's a swarm for it. If the grown man walks away with it and you feel like it was taken from you, maybe you say something. But when you see it handed to a star-eyed, thrilled child, that should be it. There should be something in your brain that says, okay, walk away. It's fine. This woman, whoever she is, did not have that moment. Terrible look for her, obviously. Some people are criticizing the dad, saying that he surrendered too quickly to this maniac screaming at him and putting hands on him, by the way. But eventually he's like, fine, take the ball. Like, I don't know what's wrong with you. Go away. People are saying he should have stood up. I understand. He is kind of the one behaving like an adult when she's not. So I understand the
I
argument.
thought he was just trying to de-escalate.
Yeah,
That
he
was
was
my
just like, leave us
Clearly,
alone,
clearly.
you crazy lady.
So
Yeah.
I'm fairly defensive of him. The kid obviously is bereft because he's had this amazing moment stolen from him by this like middle-aged woman. Then I've also seen that the internet thought that they found this woman, and there were like they put out her name and all this information about her, and there were rumors that she had gotten fired from her job. And then she came out and it's like, oh, it's not me. And she's like, I wish I were thinner. I wish I were that thin. That's not me. She's like, also, I wasn't there. Also, I am a Boston Red Sox fan, which is like a big strike against her. But like, it's at one point in her defense. So I think the internet mob trying to find this person and maybe destroy this person is going too far. Like, she was roundly booed by everyone in the section, including other Philly fans. Like, she got her moment of in glory on social media, like the couple at the Coldplay concert. Like, everyone dumped on them for a while. I don't think we have to like go find this woman and destroy her life. She got an appropriate punishment, which was social opprobrium correctly from everyone around her. The kid got a ball. He got a signed bat from the player who hit the home run. He got to meet his favorite player. The team gave him this gift thing. So I feel like justice has been served. She has been shamed. He has been rewarded. I think the story should end right here. I don't think it needs to go further.
Anything you want to add, Miranda?
I think that this is going to be probably a big Halloween costume this year. Phillies Karen.
Oh,
Yeah, and that hair.
oh God.
I think that for anybody
That
who's
terrible
struggling,
hair. I mean-
struggling to come up with a costume, this will be an easy gimme. And
Just go take other people's candy.
yes, oh
Yeah.
my God, hilarious.
That's
See?
my Snickers.
Yep.
Totally.
You can totally play a part with it. And I think she just needs, like, if she ever shows her face, like, imagine she's like a season ticket holder. She's done for the rest of the baseball season, which isn't much longer, right? I don't think. And oh, no, wait, there's a lot longer, isn't there?
There's weeks to go, but yeah.
Yeah. But
Guys like Miranda.
I don't know. I don't follow baseball that much unless it's the Dodgers. And so, and then if she comes back, they need to play the Game of Thrones, like shame Belle on her and just show her every time they can.
The only problem with this as a Halloween costume, because I think that's a good idea. I
Might be
wonder
too far
if
off.
it's like
Yeah.
is it too long from now? Like the news cycle moves so fast. It's September 8th. By October 31st, will there be like more versions of this? So like
Some
a
new meme or whatever.
That's problem one. Problem two is in order to pull off the Phillies Karen costume for Halloween, that would require purchasing Phillies gear, which is
And a wig.
I was like, I
Yes.
can't do that. And a bad wig. I wish I need to talk to a psychologist though about this. Maybe this behavior happened when we were growing up, but I don't remember this kind of thing really being that often where it's like grown ass adults really behaving like toddlers.
Well, people didn't
Children.
have
Where it's like,
cameras all the time. Like this stuff
yeah.
might happen, but no one was capturing it and posting it anywhere for the world to see.
Yeah. There's no like, there seems to be like no social awareness of any kind where it's like, you look like an idiot and everyone thinks you look like an idiot and you're screaming at a dad and a kid. And like, people like that make me so aggressively uncomfortable because I feel like you're just really, really disconnected from reality and you're a total loose cannon. And that's why I saw some people attacking the dad too. And I was like, he was just trying to get her. I probably would have done the same thing. I would have been like, just get away from me. You're
You want the
crazy.
ball?
Because again,
Fine.
loose cannon. She could have done anything and, whatever.
That's like behavior on par with like road rage when people don't know how to act appropriately in any kind of context or situation. So what else is going on with her that she thinks that that's an appropriate reaction to go up and scream in a dad's face?
Control your emotions,
Just
adults.
crazy.
She's too old.
I had an incident at Whole Foods a while ago now where a woman I was having a hard time getting my grocery cart onto the elevator and she just started screaming at me and screaming. And it was so jarring. She was like, move the cart, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh my God. And I literally in my head, I was like, this is an unstable person. I just need to get away from them as fast as possible. And like, I didn't even like take the elevator because it freaked me out so much. And it's just like, there's just like mental illness everywhere. I have one more hot topic for you. I had like 30 million of them for you, but we had such a good time talking, Guy. I just have one more, but I really want your take on this because I saw this article over the weekend in The Guardian of all places. So I want to show these pictures. There is a new trend right now called not just trad wife, but trad family. And The Guardian profiled a family of American traditionalist Catholic families known as trad families who are embracing large families, homeschooling, and a return to traditional values. They are living off the land and have a desire to return to a traditional, self-sufficient lifestyle. It's part of this bigger trend where a lot of Americans are leaning into a more old school lifestyle and pushing it back against modern norms. I think you can see the photos here where they're like picking raspberries. And this couple in particular, they were Democrats not that long ago. I think it said like 5 years ago, and have become more socially conservative. This isn't even just about trad wives. I actually have, not even just on social media, like Ballerina Farm, that famous trad wife woman. I actually have been feeling this in my personal life, especially in some of my friends in Arizona who are like, moving more upstate, more rural, growing gardens, farming. Like, I wouldn't say full trad family like this, but definitely like wanting to escape from technology, what they see as like a society that's more and more poisoned. I think videos like the stabbing and things like that don't help anything. What do you make of this? Because it's a misnomer that it's just conservative circles, because like I said, in this profile, it's former Democrats as well.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if this is how they want to live and raise their family, like more power to them. It's not for me, right? If I tried to live off the land, I would be dead in a matter of
minutes for me.
You're like, what do you mean I can't push a button and get sushi? This is an emergency, right? Like, so that's how soft I am. And I fully admit it, right? But I can understand like almost wanting to rebel against a lot of the elite views about family and culture and society and be like, you know what? No. Let's have a bunch of kids. Let's be more self-sufficient. Let's go back to our roots. I get that. I get the impulse. I respect it. I think some of like the cosplaying trad stuff is weird to me.
Same.
Which is different than people just being more traditional. And on this point, it's actually a perfect way to come full circle in our conversation because we began this interview talking about parenthood and our kids and that kind of thing. I saw a poll out today from NBC News, and Steve Kornacki had tweeted it. And it was young people. So I think it was 18 to 29, 18 to 34, somewhere in that bracket. So like mostly Gen Z, maybe like young millennials, but the youngest voting groups. And they did men who had voted for Trump, men who had voted for Harris, women who had voted for Trump, and women who voted for Harris. And they asked them what constitutes a successful, fulfilling life was basically the question. What are your priorities? And they had a bunch of options. And among Trump voting men of that young age group, the number one answer was having a family, having kids. Among Harris voting women, young, it was the dead last answer, having a family, being married, having kids. Dead last on the list of what is a successful, meaningful life. And I think that like kind of speaks to the moment right now. You look at some of the demographic trends. I'll be talking about this a little bit on my show today. If you look at the decline in our population and like we're not hitting the replacement rate in terms of, childbirths per family, that is overwhelmingly driven by the political left. Like conservatives are still having kids. Immigrants are having kids. It is like homegrown lefties who have almost given up on it in a lot of ways. And I think some of it is because they've convinced themselves that climate change is such an emergency that it's irresponsible to the planet to have kids, or like everything is so uniquely terrible that it's cruel to bring a person into this world, which is like a level of nihilism that I don't understand. We can also just say it is horrible and terrific and tragic, but I think there's a lot of abortions happening on the left.
Yeah.
Those pregnancies are happening and they're not coming to term. Whereas conservatives are still having kids. So I think you're seeing potentially a demographic winter for progressive Americans because they're like, we're not going to have kids anymore. And conservatives are still having kids. This could have real implications in our politics in the coming decades, right? In terms of who's having kids, who's raising families, what are those values? And the fact that it was just so striking to me, like you couldn't make it up. The number one priority for that kind of life that they want for Trump voting young men is to have children, have a family. And dead last on the list was that for progressive young women. So I think it also like complicates dating and romance probably for like young
Sure.
generation. But I think it is a fascinating societal trend that I don't think is getting enough attention.
Well, there's also there's a big trend among Democrat women of childless by choice. And again, like I'm not here to like proselytize everything because everybody has different reasons for different things. But I do think it's interesting that among Democrat women, like they really see having kids as something that's a negative, something that can, I guess potentially hurt your career. And what I also find interesting is there's so many Democrat commentators who don't have kids. And I am certainly at a point where, especially like post-COVID time, where I was like, you don't get to talk about what's happening in schools and like culture war stuff with kids when you are choosing to say and choosing in your life. And again, I know some people want to have kids and aren't able to, and I do not include them in this, but the childless by choice people, you don't get to talk to me or lecture me about child's education. Like I think Randy Weingartner doesn't have kids. And I always was like, what? I don't even understand. Like there are just certain things being a parent that you are experiencing that you can't explain to people. Miranda has children as well. We all have
there's
kids.
people who like actively go out of their way to not engage with children and speak about how much they actively dislike children. And then they want to talk about, culture wars and what should we be doing about schools and book banning, et cetera, and all that. And so it's like, you can't,
and like crazy
have it both
indoctrination
ways.
and all stuff like, well, you don't have skin in the game, literally flesh and blood in the game. And like, if you want to make a choice not to have kids,
great.
Like again, it's a free country. Go for it. I think also then telling parents what they can and cannot do with the raising of their own kids and trying to impose your values on them, I think is not a cute look at all. And I also think when you look at mental health statistics and happiness indexes or indices for people, often the single, secular, childless, progressive, like are the most neurotic, unhappy people in the country. Like, and I think that's sad. I'm not like dunking on them like, and I know plenty of people on the political left who are very happy and live great lives. And many of them have kids and that sort of thing. But just like at the broader data level, it is just proven that married couples with kids are like the happy, committed, like intact families. There's exceptions to everything, but as a general rule, they are the happiest people in the country, like religious people of faith who are married, as opposed to the opposite. And then you have like all these people searching for meaning and like, why am I so anxious and why is everything so sad? It's like, well, there might be some answers out there if you're willing to open your mind to it. And maybe the traditional thing is a tradition for a reason. for like all sorts of good reasons. Spiritually, intellectually, societally, like maybe those things are traditions for good reason.
Well, what's going to happen? Because obviously you're conservative, you have kids. I'm conservative, I have kids. Miranda's centrist, she has kids, but I would not describe you as on the left. We are outbreeding them. I mean, like, what is going to happen in like 10 to 20 years? Because Democrats they just are not having children. They're just not. They have decided not to. So like, what happens politically? Like, say you don't like, say you're part Democrats and you're like, climate change is the worst, and like, like all the reasons they give for not having kids. But like, at a certain point, there will be no new generations of people that agree with you in any way, which is also
unless it's all of our kids rebelling against us, which is why I'm trying to figure out
and it does happen.
how do I raise my kids to share my values without being so annoying about it.
Don't be pushy. Yep.
Who was it? And what I always think about is Susan Rice, for people that don't know, worked in the Obama and Biden administration, one of the biggest lefties on the planet. Her son was the president of Students for Trump at Stanford. He's a giant MAGA. I always think about that.
I interviewed him.
Thanksgiving must be awkward.
Shut up. What was he like?
He was great. He was super nice. We talked on the air, not so much about the dynamics with his mom, because I do a fellowship out at Hoover Institution.
I love Hoover Institute.
So I met him when he was a student there. He was delightful and very smart and very bright and all of that. And like we were talking off the air about stuff, and he has a great relationship with his mom. And like, one of my colleagues, Juan Williams, who's, one of the liberal commentators.
Love him.
Love Juan, yeah.
He has kids, and he's completely outnumbered in his household. His wife and all of his kids are all conservatives.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
My parents were split too. My dad was a long-term Democrat, my mom Republican, and then when they switched. My dad voted for Trump, and my mom voted for Biden and Harris. So you never know. You get what you get. Probably explains why I'm centrist.
So funny about Juan Williams, though. I did not know that, and he's another one that everybody loves. Like, such a deeply pleasant, kind man. I love Juan Williams, but it's just I don't know. I'm just fascinated by all the women on TikTok, childless by choice, yelling at all of us that are having kids.
I think they say child free. They don't say they're not less of anything, Megan. So
somebody said childless recently. I think it was Anna Kasparian. I'm not
Did
sure.
she?
I think it was her.
She says a lot of things.
I know. Let's not even. I know, right? No. What are you looking forward to going into the fall? Halloween is big for both of us, Guy. Are you going to do a family Halloween costume? I'm starting to plan our Halloween. You have to. I mean, it's going to be mid-September soon. You got to start thinking about it. Like, are you looking forward to like anything in the fall with your beautiful family? Because you are not.
Yeah, your son is getting
Guy.
old enough to like really enjoy Halloween. So
that's we'll do something like Halloween is not my favorite holiday, but we'll do like last year we did the Very Hungry Caterpillar.
That's so cute.
Caterpillar, and we were the foods that the caterpillar
That's so
ate.
cute.
We did that last year. I don't know what we'll do this year. That's like, maybe I'll talk to Adam about that. My favorite holiday is Thanksgiving. So, and here's my reasoning on this. So this is like, when I think fall, it's like, oh yeah, Halloween, that'll be fun, but it's the main event is Thanksgiving. It's the most American holiday, almost even more so than the 4th of July in some ways. It's pure America. It is food. It is family. It is friends. It is football. It is fall. It's got the foliage. It's the correct temperature, at least where I live. Like, I like a little chill in the air. I like sweater weather. You can indulge in some adult beverages as well. And it's also then the opening of the gates to Christmas as well, because I love Christmas, but I don't like getting to Christmas too soon. We have Thanksgiving first, and then when you get past Thanksgiving, you're like, now we can put up the tree. Now we can start listening to the carols. Now it's Christmas time. So it's like, it's the big glorious entry into the holiday season. So that is what I'm most excited for. But you're right. We have to figure out a costume before then, before October.
You're like, thanks for making me think.
Yeah, I'm like going to make it like that, like on my.
Got to start thinking about it. My girl's
a lot of
obsessed with
people. I love
K-pop
Thanksgiving's their favorite
actors.
holiday too. So
It's amazing.
I love a holiday where you don't have to exchange presents, where like presents are not obligatory. So that's why I love Halloween, 4th of July, Thanksgiving. You just show up and be yourself.
Yeah. Well, I hope you come back soon. I'm so happy to see your face, Guy. And you really are like the most like beloved man in media. I don't know how you pull it off. Seriously, everybody likes you. Like, I mean, I'm not kidding.
You should see my comments and know just plenty of people who are not fans.
Those are bots. Those are Russian bots.
They're all bots.
Seriously.
Okay,
And
I'm
you're
gonna go with that.
But you can find Guy obviously on Fox News all the time and on his very popular radio show and at townhall.com, and follow him on X and Instagram at Guy P. Benson. You have a very good Twitter. I like that you're active. I like that you're real opinionated. And I like that you're not censoring yourself. Like, it's not just PR tweets. You have a great Twitter account. Thank you so much, Guy. See you
Thanks,
soon.
Megan. Bye,
See you next
Miranda.
time.
Thanks,
Bye, Guy.
everyone.
Bye. Okay, so do you really want to quickly do Netflix, or do we want to save it for?
I want to save it so we can talk to everybody about it, because that story is wild. So if you didn't get a chance to watch it, because I want to talk about it on Wednesday.
Okay, so everyone, we are going to give an alert. Miranda and I have already seen this documentary.
I might
Netflix
watch
is
it
easy to
again.
find. It's the #1 documentary on Netflix.
Thank
It's
you,
called
Sean.
Unknown Number: The High School Catfish. It's a true crime documentary about a Michigan team who was cyberbullied for 2 years, and it
The
was
chat
later
is
revealed.
going wild, by the
Yeah.
way. Sorry to
I-
interrupt you, but the chat's going nuts. Will, Emily, Sean, everybody's
I'm
saying
sorry
they
we didn't get
watched
to it today.
it.
Guy's just so adorable and like has so
I
many
know.
good things to say.
It's
So
okay. We want to spread it out. We don't want to rush it. We want to talk to
We'll
you
give
guys
you-
about it.
how about I'll make this promise: Wednesday, short of some insane breaking news, we will do this first so we don't miss it. And so all of you have one more
No
chance in the next
spoilers. We will not spoil
48
it for you.
hours to watch it. No excuses. It's not like with Annabelle where we can't get to the movie theater because my babysitter canceled.
Yes,
You
it's
have
on
to
Netflix.
just go on Netflix. Like I said, I will say this. I'm just going to say like one thing. I had a really hard time watching this. I had a really hard time watching this
Mhm.
documentary.
Don't watch it with
If
your
you-
kids around. It's very
No.
graphic. The words
I would say
are very
18
bad.
and over. Like it is a lot. It's very disturbing, and I have a lot to say, which I will hold before saying it. But it's very heavy and it's a lot. And I had to watch it in like increments because
In
it was
bits.
literally making me physically sick. So, all right, everybody. So please watch it. Miranda and I have
Great
already watched it,
endorsement.
but-
Yes.
Well,
that
I
doesn't make
think
you
it's-
want to watch. Yeah.
Well,
It's
I think
important.
it's worth watching because it's another like. We need to address what technology is doing to people with severe mental illness. It's also like an example of basically like the worst kind of horrific monster horror show, nightmare, psychopath, like any extreme person. I will always have a fascination with,
Mhm.
like, just because we're all interested in extreme stuff, which is
And
why, like,
some new kind of mental illness disorder that didn't exist up until very recently. So let's all watch it. I don't want to
Yep.
say anymore because I don't want to end up saying something stupid that's going to ruin it for everyone. So
Unknown Number, the
Unknown
high school
Number.
catfish. Mhm.
and pay attention to everyone's outfits because it's going to come into
Oh,
play
God.
in their talking heads one-on-one, because that's going to be relevant on Wednesday.
I also have a lot to say to the producers who made this.
Oh
And
my God,
I'm
a
going to
lot.
save it. But Miranda and I, as people who host and Miranda produces and I produce sometimes, like, I have things
But
to say.
yeah.
I have things to say. All right.
I
but
would have
I'm gonna
done this
save
a
those
lot
things to
differently.
say.
Mhm.
Miranda and I would have produced this a lot differently if we were directing this, but okay. But no one asked us to direct it. I actually don't think I could be in the room with that woman, so it's good they didn't. I don't think I could be physically in the same room with that woman.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's it so far. Thank you again for the Annabelle update. Miranda, anything else you want to say before we say goodbye? Before we say hello Wednesday? Please watch a little bit on YouTube. Our YouTube numbers are just in the hellhole.
Yeah, we're working. Share, tell your friends, like, subscribe, whatever. Just comment on it to give us some engagement. Something nice, not the
Yeah.
bot telling us we suck. This
Russian
sounds-
bots are just really.
Yeah.
I can tell when they're bots too because they have like no followers and no.
And yeah,
But-
their username is like Susan 0123456778.
But I
Yeah.
will say one last thing. I've actually been thinking of doing like an asshole of the day tweet.
Ooh, fun.
Showing people with our meanest comment. I actually
Yeah.
thought that because I always think a little
Jerk of the
public
week.
humiliation, like the Philly lady, can do some good. So be careful what you're writing on our wall, especially about the way Miranda and I look, because
Oh,
you might
yeah.
be asshole of the week. I actually think it might be. We should maybe do it on
I think
Wednesdays.
we look
Ashley likes
nice.
this idea. I do. I think we should maybe do it. And maybe we could do like wonderful person of the week and like a high-low type thing.
Cutie
So,
of the day. Yes, love that.
yeah.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Miranda. Lovely to see you. And
You
we
too,
have
Meg.
our old pal Ben Ferguson on Wednesday.
It'll be fun.
We
I
should
wanna-
ask him to
We should
watch
make
this
him
stuff.
watch the show. Yeah, I bet he'll have some fun stuff.
I'm gonna go hunt that lady down if he watches.
Don't
this
say
stuff.
anymore. You're gonna spoil it.
Okay. All right, guys. I won't spoil
Zip
it.
it.
I spoil everything.
Yeah,
I infamously
shush.
spoiled the ending of Game of Thrones on The View on accident, and that was I did. It was on the Daily
That
Mail.
was the worst
headline
ending
that I-
ever. That show
And
deserved to get
people
spoiled.
were like flip so mad at me, and I was like, "Didn't you guys watch?" It was
Was it the next
terrible. It was
day? Did you
garbage.
spoil it
Yeah,
like
and they
literally the
were
next morning?
yeah, and I was just like, I can't believe they murdered Khaleesi, and people were like, oh, ah, like just losing their minds. Like, don't you guys have the internet? It's like all over Twitter.
Oh my
Anyway,
God. You're the worst.
whatever. Yeah, so I can't tell you more. Thank you guys so much. We will see you again on a Wednesday with Ben Ferguson, and again, watch the Netflix doc, and
Watch
we'll see you
it.
soon.
Bye.